In today's episode, an age of iron, fire, and famine, witness a kingdom's epic fight for survival.
In 1453, the 100 Years' War ended, leaving France devastated, but finally free of English occupation. King Charles VII began rebuilding the shattered kingdom, establishing France's first permanent standing army. His successor, Louis XI, known as the Universal Spider, used cunning diplomacy to unite the realm. Louis XI ruthlessly subdued rebellious nobles, strengthening the central authority of the French crown. The powerful Duchy of Burgundy fell to France in 1477, expanding the royal domain significantly. Provence and Anjou were soon annexed, further consolidating the borders of the growing kingdom. Royal administration was modernized, securing steady tax revenues from the weary populace. New trade routes flourished as peace returned to the fertile French countryside. By 1494, France stood unified and prepared to project its immense power outward.
In 1494, young King Charles VIII crossed the Alps, claiming the distant kingdom of Naples. This bold invasion ignited the grueling Italian wars, sparking decades of European conflict. French armies marveled at the artistic and cultural wonders of the Italian Renaissance. Though initially successful, Charles was forced to retreat, leaving Italy in chaotic turmoil. Louis XII succeeded him, renewing French claims to Milan with aggressive military campaigns. French knights fought fiercely, but shifting alliances constantly thwarted their territorial ambitions. Despite military setbacks, Italian art, philosophy, and architecture poured steadily into France. French castles began to transform from dark fortresses into elegant Renaissance palaces. By 1515, a new era of cultural rebirth had firmly taken root across the nation. Francis I ascended the throne in 1515, immediately marching into Italy to win the Battle of Marignano. He invited Leonardo da Vinci to France, fostering a brilliant era of artistic patronage. The magnificent Château de Chambord was constructed, symbolizing the grand style of the French Renaissance. Francis declared French the official language of law and administration in 1539. A bitter rivalry emerged between Francis I and the powerful Holy Roman Emperor Charles V. Captured at the Battle of Pavia, the French king was briefly imprisoned in Madrid. Upon his release, Francis resumed his struggle, even forming shocking alliances with the Ottomans. He funded maritime expeditions, sending Jacques Cartier to explore the shores of Canada. By his death in 1547, Francis had crafted a glittering, highly centralized monarchical state. Henry II succeeded his father, continuing the fierce geopolitical rivalry against the Habsburgs. The Treaty of Cateau-Cambrésis in 1559 finally ended the exhausting Italian wars. Henry died tragically in a jousting tournament, leaving a fragile monarchy to his young sons. Meanwhile, the ideas of John Calvin spread rapidly, converting many French nobles to Protestantism. These French Protestants, known as Huguenots, challenged the traditional authority of the Catholic Church. Religious tensions escalated quickly as preaching and illegal assemblies grew in frequency. Catherine de' Medici became regent, struggling desperately to maintain royal control. Violent clashes erupted in towns, dividing families and communities along deep sectarian lines. By 1562, the kingdom hovered precariously on the brink of a devastating religious civil war.
The massacre of Oisy in 1562 sparked the bloody French wars of religion. For decades, Catholic and Protestant forces ravaged the French countryside in brutal combat. In 1572, the St. Bartholomew's Day massacre resulted in the slaughter of thousands of Huguenots. Violence spread from Paris to the provinces, deepening the hatred between both religious factions. Catherine de' Medici navigated the chaos, trying to preserve the crown for her weak sons. The War of the Three Henrys brought the conflict to a fever pitch in the late 1580s. King Henry III was assassinated in 1589, ending the illustrious Valois dynasty. The Protestant heir, Henry of Navarre, claimed the throne amidst widespread Catholic resistance. France lay deeply divided, impoverished, and exhausted by decades of relentless civil strife.
Henry of Navarre converted to Catholicism to unite the nation, famously declaring, "Paris is worth a mass." Crowned as Henry IV, he became the beloved first monarch of the Bourbon dynasty. In 1598, he issued the Edict of Nantes, granting substantial religious freedom to the Huguenots. This landmark decree brought a blessed peace and stability to the war-torn land. Alongside Duke Sully, Henry rebuilt the economy and promoted agricultural prosperity. He constructed grand public works in Paris, earning the adoration of his subjects. Colonization of the New World resumed, with Quebec being founded in 1608. Despite his popularity, religious extremists still viewed the king with deep suspicion. In 1610, Henry IV was assassinated, leaving France once again in sudden mourning.
The young Louis XIII inherited the throne, with Marie de' Medici acting as regent. Cardinal Richelieu became chief minister in 1624, dominating French politics for decades. Richelieu's primary goal was to crush domestic rebellion and centralize royal authority. He besieged and captured the Protestant stronghold of La Rochelle in 1628. Royal officials, called intendants, were dispatched to provinces to curb noble independence. Richelieu brought France into the devastating 30 Years' War to weaken the Habsburgs. Heavy taxes levied to fund the military sparked numerous peasant uprisings across France. Despite the unrest, the French army achieved major victories, establishing dominance in Europe. Richelieu and Louis XIII died within months of each other, leaving a powerful legacy.
In 1643, 5-year-old Louis XIV became king under the regency of Anne of Austria. Cardinal Mazarin guided the young king, continuing Richelieu's policies of centralization. High taxes and royal overreach triggered a series of violent civil wars known as the Fronde. Rebellious nobles and Paris citizens forced the royal family to flee the capital in terror. This traumatic experience instilled in young Louis XIV a lifelong distrust of rebellious nobility. Mazarin eventually suppressed the Fronde, restoring order and absolute royal authority. The Treaty of Westphalia in 1648 and the Treaty of the Pyrenees in 1659 confirmed French supremacy. Upon Mazarin's death in 1661, the young king made a shocking historic announcement. Louis XIV declared he would rule alone, without a chief minister, initiating personal rule.
Louis XIV adopted the sun as his emblem, symbolizing his role as the absolute center of France. He transformed a simple hunting lodge into the magnificent, sprawling palace of Versailles. Nobles were forced to reside at Versailles, neutralizing their power through elaborate court rituals. Jean-Baptiste Colbert managed the economy, pioneering mercantilism and building a powerful navy. In 1685, Louis revoked the Edict of Nantes,
forcing thousands of skilled Huguenots to flee. France embarked on aggressive wars, expanding its northern and eastern frontiers. The War of the Spanish Succession exhausted the nation's treasury and caused widespread famine. Despite the hardships, French culture, theater, and literature dominated the European continent. Louis XIV died in 1715, leaving behind a majestic but deeply indebted kingdom.
Louis XV ascended the throne in 1715, ruling a nation increasingly eager for change. The Enlightenment flourished, with philosophers like Voltaire and Rousseau questioning traditional authority. France lost its major colonial territories in North America after the disastrous 7 Years' War. Louis XVI became king in 1774, inheriting a government teetering on the edge of bankruptcy. France heavily funded the American Revolution, seeking revenge against Great Britain, but draining its own coffers. Severe droughts and crop failures in the 1780s plunged the peasantry into desperate poverty. Nobles stubbornly resisted royal tax reforms, refusing to surrender their ancient privileges. Desperate for a solution, Louis XVI summoned the Estates General in early 1789. This historic meeting unleashed unstoppable social forces that would soon shatter the Ancien regime.